Welcome to the Wealth Dialogue. I'm Emily.
And I'm Jack. Paying off $52,000 in consumer debt. Credit cards, car loans. It just feels impossible, right?
Right.
Especially if you're on an average salary, nowhere near six figures. And that belief that you need a huge salary to fix a huge debt problem is exactly what the source material we've dug into today says is wrong.
It's the single biggest mental block we see.
It is?
It just paralyzes people.
It really does. Millions of people feel stuck because they think the only way out is something external, like a huge raise or, I don't know, a lottery win.
Yes, a magic bullet.
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about finding the actual strategy. We want to show you how real people on normal budgets actually engineered their way to freedom.
And it's all about strategy and consistency, not luck.
That's it.
And we need to be clear from the start. The sources all point to one thing. Most of these big debt problems are their behavior and system problems.
They're not income problems.
I mean, you can always out-earn bad habits if you make enough, but true freedom, that comes from mastering the system you already have.
So let's stop chasing the salary and start optimizing the machine.
That's the idea.
Okay, so let's unpack this $52,000 amount. It's a huge number, but it's a common one. How does someone on a normal income even get there? It's not usually one single thing, is it?
No, you're right. It's almost never one single catastrophic event.
Which is the story people tell themselves.
It is. But the reality is it's small decisions, small choices stacking up quietly over, 5, maybe 10 years.
So what's in that stack? What are we usually looking at?
Well, you look at the case studies and you see the usual suspects. High-interest credit cards are almost always the biggest piece of the balance.
And the smallest piece of your actual payment is going to the principal.
Precisamente. Then you've got maybe a car loan with an interest rate that's a little too high. And then the big one, the financial death by 1,000 cuts.
Using debt as your emergency fund.
Yes.
Yeah.
Using credit cards instead of savings for every little thing that goes wrong. The transmission goes out, you put it on a card that's 0% interest.
And then it jumps to 29% if you're a day late.
Yeah. Your debt becomes this accidental, really expensive insurance policy, and it just builds until the minimum payments eat up every spare dollar you have.
Which leads to that wake-up moment you mentioned.
That's the turning point. And what's interesting is it wasn't seeing the big $52,000 number on a spreadsheet that did it.
No.
No, it was the small, sort of humiliating moments, the little points of friction.
Give me an example. How does it get personal?
Okay, so one person we studied, they talked about trying to buy something small, just a new pair of shoes, and the card was declined.
Wow.
Yeah. The total debt was huge, but it was that being denied a small basic purchase, that just clicked. Another person saw on their statement that the interest payment for 1 month, just the interest, was enough to cover their entire grocery bill for the month.
Oh, that's powerful. When you see it like that, it's not just a number. It's food you could have bought.
It becomes a visible, tangible loss. It's not this vague stress anymore. It feels like you're being actively robbed. And that's the fuel you need.
Because this is a grueling process.
It is. It's a multi-year effort. It has to be personal.
So we've established no big salary increase. That means the system they built had to be incredibly efficient. What was that framework? What are the pillars of the strategy?
The sources break it down into 3 pillars. And they're simple to say, but, they're hard to actually do. It's awareness, prioritization, and momentum.
Let's start with awareness. That's the tracking part, right? But what about the friction of actually doing it? That's where I feel like most people give up.
That's a great point. That first month of tracking every single dollar it's painful. And it's revealing. It just eliminates all the guesswork.
And your own self-deception.
Totally. And a key piece of advice was not just to track, but to track with accountability. Share that spreadsheet or that app data with a partner.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just for you.
Right. That external pressure, it prevents the self-sabotage. You can't just forget you spent $80 on takeout if you have to tell someone about it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, pillar 2. Prioritization. You have the 2 big methods, avalanche and snowball. The sources really push the debt avalanche here. Why? The snowball method, paying off the smallest debts first, is supposed to be better for, motivation.
Crucial distinction. For a small amount of debt, yeah, the snowball can work. You need those quick psychological wins.
Right.
But $52,000 is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And over 3 years, math has to win.
Okay.
By focusing on the highest interest rate debt first, those 25, 30% credit cards, you save thousands of dollars in the long run.
So the argument is that the psychological boost from paying off a tiny loan just doesn't compare to the financial drain of that 30% card just sitting there, compounding for another year.
Exactly. For the long haul, saving money is the motivation. When you hit that slump, maybe 18 months in, and you're tired, knowing you're on the most efficient path possible, that's what keeps you going.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, the last pillar, momentum. This sounds purely behavioral. How do you keep that fire lit for 3 years straight?
Momentum is all about immediate action. The mantra was delay rewards, accelerate freedom.
I like that.
The rule was every extra dollar goes to the debt within 24 hours. You sell something on Saturday, that money is sent to the principal on Sunday. You don't let it sit in your checking account.
Because it'll just get spent. It becomes vulnerable.
It's too tempting. So this immediacy, it makes deployment automatic. Consistency is key. But here, immediacy beats hesitation every time.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, this leads to the part everyone's probably wondering about. The extra income. If they didn't get a new high-paying job, how did they find the extra cash without, burning out?
This is where the real action happens. And the key was they weren't looking for some complex, glamorous startup. They were looking for low-friction, high-consistency income boosts.
Okay, so what does that actually mean? Let's get specific. What were these nothing glamorous side gigs that brought in that extra $400 to $700 a month?
The sources pointed to three main buckets. First was what they called asset optimization.
Selling stuff online.
That's part of it for sure. But also, think micro-rentals. Do you have a spare parking spot you don't use? Rent it out. A corner of your garage. Rent it for storage on a neighborhood app.
You're monetizing space you already have. I like that. What's the second source?
The second was low-barrier service work. This is things like dog walking, pet sitting, simple yard work on the weekends, but also using those microtask platforms online.
Oh, right.
So they weren't trying to become full-time bookkeepers. They were doing, simple data entry or transcription for $15 to $25 an hour whenever they had a spare 30 minutes.
So it's not a huge commitment. It's turning idle time into cash. And the third category?
The third was aggressive cost reduction that they treated as new income.
How does that work?
Well, after that initial tracking, they found all the leaks, unused subscriptions, overpriced insurance, you name it. They'd aggressively negotiate their bills, and that $80 they saved on the cable bill or the $20 from a streaming service they canceled, that was immediately treated like new earnings and sent straight to the debt.
That is so clever. You're creating a new income stream without working any extra hours.
And that consistent $400 to $700 a month, that just fundamentally changes the math. If you're paying down $52,000 at, say, an 18% average rate, your minimum payment might be $800, but $600 of that could be interest. You're barely moving. But add an extra $700, now you're hammering the principal. That's what turns a 10-year nightmare into a 3-year plan.
That is the concrete result people need to hear.
Yeah.
So let's move from the strategy to the actual playbook.
Yeah.
If someone listening wants to start today, what are the 6 steps they have to take?
Okay, here's the roadmap. First, track every dollar for 30 days. No guessing. Use an app, use a notebook, whatever. You have to face the truth.
And the key there is just to capture the data first, right?
Yeah.
Don't judge it yet.
Exactly. Just get it down on paper. Analysis comes later.
Okay, step 2.
Build a small defensive emergency fund. Just $500 to start. This is your debt shield. It stops the bleeding. It stops you from reaching for a credit card when a tire goes flat.
And where do you put that $500 so you don't just spend it?
It has to live somewhere separate.
Oh.
A high-yield savers account that you label do not touch. You treat it like it doesn't exist until a real emergency hits.
Got it. Step 3 is putting that prioritization pillar to work.
Yep. Attack the high-interest debt first. The avalanche method. List every debt you have, highest interest rate at the top, and put every spare cent toward that one until it's gone.
Okay. 4.
Add at least one small side income stream this week. Don't wait. Find $50 or $100 you can make right now. Sell 5 things from your closet. Do 1 microtask project. Just get the ball rolling.
I like the immediacy of that. 5th.
Automate everything. Set up automatic minimum payments on all your debts so you never, ever miss one and get hit with a fee. You're making discipline the default option.
And the last one, the most critical one for behavior.
Send all extra money to your debt within 24 hours. That's the momentum pillar. Deploy that side gig cash, that money from selling the old bike, before your brain has a chance to think of another way to spend it.
These steps are so simple, but I can see how doing them consistently creates this unstoppable system.
To really drive it home, let's go back to that specific case study.
Yeah.
This person was earning under $55,000 a year. They had the full $52K in debt spread across like 7 different accounts. They felt completely hopeless.
What was the biggest behavioral change they had to make to get through it? Was it saying no to things?
Social pressure? That was a huge part of it. They realized they had to be absolutely ruthless about their spending. For a couple of years, they had to say no to dinners out, weekend trips, things that cost money.
That's tough.
It is. The pivot was from trying to maximize income to maximizing control. They cut every subscription. They drove their old car forever. They embraced that temporary discomfort because the long-term goal, freedom, was more important.
They couldn't control their salary,
Right.
so they ruthlessly controlled their outflow and their effort.
That's it, exactly. They consistently generated that extra $500 or $600 a month from cuts and that small side work. And the result, because of the math of the avalanche method and that relentless momentum,
Yeah.
the $52,000 was gone in under 3 years.
Under 3 years, on an average income. That just proves it.
Right.
It proves that this is possible for regular people. It puts the power back in your hands and just removes that excuse that you need a 6-figure salary.
It absolutely does. The system is available to anyone. The difference is just the relentless follow-through.
Which brings us all the way back to that initial wake-up moment, that pain of realizing money is just vanishing. So for the listener, what's the final thought we should leave them with?
We challenge you to find your own hidden interest payment. If you think about those hundreds of dollars just evaporating from that person's budget, look at your own. What quiet, automated expense is costing you money every single month and holding you back from your next goal?
So it might not be debt interest, it could be something else.
It could be that gym membership you don't use, or the insurance you haven't shopped around for in 5 years, or just the habit of buying lunch out 3 times a week. Find that one, low friction, recurring cost. That's your first $400 of acceleration. Go find it and kill it today.